So we already have. welcome. Having technical difficulties with StreamYard, but we are over it and on our way. The market has already kicked off. Our Dow Jones Industrial Average is down slightly, 0.09%. The Russell 2K is also down slightly, 0.05%. The VIX is up. I'm sorry, the VIX is down 22.05. It's down 2.61%. According to what's being reported, the stock market is rebounding from yesterday's decline, and apparently oil prices are easing. So that's happening. Europe all down. Nobody's up. DAX is down the least. Well, second least, shall I say, 0.18%, and FTSE Milano is down 0.10%. Asia, mostly mixed. Nifty 50 is up 0.88%, and Shanghai is up the most, 4.59%. That is what's going on with them. For our earnings on today, we got PepsiCo reported this morning, accoladed as well. Saratoga Investment Corp reports today after the close. We also have, before market open tomorrow, Helen of Troy and Bierna. And then after close tomorrow, as Applied Blockchain, Bassett, E2 Open, and Richardson Electronics. In terms of the tech space, these three are the main ones that are reporting. Applied Blockchain and E2 Open would be in the software side, and then Richard Electronics would be more so on the hardware side for tomorrow after close. Here's what we got going on today, Tuesday, October 8th. We got yellow folders happening today. We had FOMC member Kugler speaking at 3 a.m. 6 a.m. was NFIB Small Business Index, and then 8:30 a.m. was the trade balance. What's scheduled is the RCM tip economic optimism, right? 12:45 p.m. FOMC member Bostic is speaking, and then 4 o'clock FOMC member Collins is speaking. So we really only have these two yellow folders, tip economic optimism and members Bostic speaking for these two yellow folders. We out of here at 4, and then Jefferson is speaking. Member Jefferson is speaking at 7:30, right? So we'll be long gone and up out of there by the time that last one hits. Okay. Now what we had for this morning on investing.com. So over here, that was 1 star for Kugler speaking. This morning, exports was 2 stars. Neutral impact for investing.com, 2 stars for imports. And these both for August. Neutral impact. Trade balance was slightly lower than projected. Also 2 stars. We had the red book year over year, which was 1 star. That was neutral impact. And then, of course, 15 minutes from now, the tip optimism for October is 1 star over here. 2 stars, though, is the Atlanta Fed GDP now for Q3. And then at noon, we got the EIA short-term energy outlook. That's also 2 stars. Over here, Bostic speaking is 2 stars at 12:45. And then the 3-year note auction at 1 o'clock is 2 stars. Okay. 1 star at 4 o'clock is Fed Collins speaking. And then at 4:30, 4 o'clock, then 4:30, 2 stars, API weekly crude oil stock. That is 2 stars. And then what is that? 7:30, Fed Governor Jefferson speaks. That's 1 star over here. All right. So in terms of red folders that we might be used to seeing, and the number of stars, things are relatively low, but we all know that relatively low doesn't always mean that much when it comes to some of the things that we are likely to see in our charts. All right. Let's switch over to the Mancini numbers and bring that up. There you go. Right. Highly precise technicals overnight in SPX. As we fill out the 57, 58, 56, 93 flag for the third week. Yesterday, 57.16 triggered short with 56.79 next down. We hit 56.79 exact. Move this over a little bit. Recovered 56.93 rallied. 56.93 rallied. The plan today is no change. 57.13 weak, 56.99 is support. If it keeps, 57.26 react, 57.39, 57.41 live. So if we are going with the highest and lowest numbers, what I'm seeing is 574 at the top and 569 at the bottom is what I'm seeing. And usually that is reserved for those who are doing SPY as well. Those top and bottom numbers. So we're going to add that in a little bit. We'll do it over here in this corner. And let's give us SPY. We'll say SPY. And we'll say 569 for the bottom number and 574. Actually, we'll switch that around. 574 for the top number. 569. Let's do it that way. Right. Now we have that information on there as well. Give it about a 7. Whoops. Put it to a 9. Yep, that'll work. So now we'll have that plugged in. Again, none of this is investment advice. All we're doing is taking the numbers that we are given and working from there. Adam Mancini is on Twitter. And that is where we get our numbers from. Right here at Adam Mancini 4. And we get our information from his tweets each morning, right? We are going to switch on over to Thinkorswim. That is the broker that I use the most. If anybody has any tickers they want looked at, we can start there. Let's take a look at SPX on a 15-minute chart. See what happened this morning so far. Right, so SPX has broken out slightly of its 15-minute breakout candle. I'm going to mark this gap that happened this morning. This is the first candle. So if you're doing the 15-minute breakout, looks like it's trying to mosey its way on up. I'll use this line and this line right here to mark the bottom and the top of that 15-minute candle. And as you can see, it is pushing up. There are some people who are probably already getting in to take advantage of the momentum from this morning. The only thing I will be paying attention to is 57.38 because that is a price point that is could possibly be a strong line there. Yeah, 57.34 may be as well, but I'll definitely be watching 57.38. And then also there's a gap that was that occurred also on October 4th. So you definitely have some resistance up here. So it'll be interesting to see how that ends up playing out. But we are still, of course, early in the market. Good morning, Lady T. I see you. I hope you had a great night of sleep. Right, so that's what's going on for SPX. And it looks like the way the morning is starting off, it would not surprise me if this continues up some and does its thing. So let's see here. Good morning, Janae. For those of you who need to see SPY, again, it should show up as pink or some type of pink color. Those are the gaps that I put on the chart, so I know where the gaps are. This price point went through this gap, but this might be a 15-minute gap that hasn't filled yet. I usually I like to look at the daily, see what's going on, and then check from there. Seeing as though that this is a gap up here, it looks like it is providing some resistance as of right now. Move that up a little bit. Price action is eating into that some. Right, and as we discussed yesterday, we have what looks like a pole running from south to north. Right, south to north. These highs are getting lower, and the lows are relatively stable. So this looks like it could be something like this. Bullish wedge maybe is what I'm seeing. South to north, highs are getting lower, lows are relatively stable. So that's what I'll be watching out for, is to see if this comes down to a certain point and then ends up heading back up. But this is on SPY on the daily chart, right? And then who else do we normally look at? Russell 2000. Ignore everything you just saw. All the lines. I'm zooming in. Right? So Russell 2000 has also tried to break out of its 15-minute. It's trying to do its thing as well. All right. So you got a couple of the breakouts trying to do their thing right now, and they haven't necessarily made a grand move, but we definitely see some strong candles like it's trying to push out. So That's that. We have a request to check out NVIDIA. Oh, yeah. So, do I have that on the weekly? I got a, so this is what's going on with NVIDIA right now. Could have sworn, I thought for sure somebody said something about all-time highs or something like that. And I'm like, no, they're not at all-time highs right now. They have 140.76 is NVIDIA did the stock split too. So all-time highs is a good general. You got to take all-time highs with a grain of salt whenever people say that, because all-time highs, when they say it, doesn't always include whether or not the ticker or the stock had earnings, which changes the numbers. So, but for right now, 140.76 is the quote unquote all-time high for NVIDIA right now. This formation, this is what I saw was a pole running from north to south, and then the lows are getting higher and the highs are getting higher. So when it comes to a candle pattern formation, what I was seeing was a bearish flag. That's what that looked like to me. It's a bearish flag. Especially because the lows are getting higher and the highs are getting higher. And I don't see that on these over here. So that's why I marked these trend lines here, just to give myself a reference point to say that there may be some downward movement at some point. We don't know, but anything is possible. That's what I put this note in here for. So we have right here, NVIDIA gapped up a little bit on the daily chart. And I'm going to move this up a little bit. All right. So depending on how you like to set your lines, this obviously, I'm going to take this line out right now. So this is breaking past its previous high that it was working on right now. Trying to get past its previous high. But I have 136 as the seller zone. Distal up here. Leg in, one in the base, leg out. That's a strong leg out. This actually is what I would consider a strong I would consider this a strong zone though, because it has been support and resistance before. So this has been support and resistance before. And I'm pretty sure if we keep going back, well, this is after it this is after it did its split, so we might not be able to go back to find too much, but so this is resistance here. This is some resistance here, support right here. So there's a lot of activity around this price right there. So I'm gonna consider this one up here, the new seller zone, is to be on the safe side again. And I'm gonna take these off so it won't confuse anybody. These are my trend lines. I'll put them back on later. So what I have is everybody charts these differently. So I don't want y'all to be taking what I'm saying as gold. There's something obviously going on in here. This could be a chair for some people. Leg in, two in the base, leg out. I don't like the way this looks in terms of a leg out, but I definitely do like this as a buyer zone down here with the gap right there. So I'll be waiting for that to come down and push its way into that. Let's take a look at the options chain. This is a buyer's gap right here, by the way, because the buyers pushed it up. So this gapped up and then pushed its way down. So I would not be surprised if buyers keep, if it doesn't, keep bouncing off a little bit till it's done doing what it wants to do, right? But we can look at the options chain. And since this seems to be moving up, I will be, as a seller, looking to go put credit spread at the bottom in the opposite direction. Time is it right now? 10, okay. I'm usually not getting in for a little bit more time, but if I was looking to for this coming Friday, I'll be somewhere in here. So if I was doing this, you can look at 137. Actually, I'm on the wrong side. Be this side over here. Put credit spread first. So I'll be looking at this is a one spread, 126 minus 125, 1. So that would be $100 of collateral for one contract. And so I'll be looking at about 16 cents, collecting 16 cents. So that's $16 on $100 collateral. So that's 16% return on collateral. I don't see that as being horrible at all. And this is 126, 126. So 126 puts you under this gap right here. And some people trade the gap. I don't trade the gap. I like to use the gap as kind of like a buffer, if you will, and get on the other side of it. So I just kind of use it as more protection, if you will. So we'll look to see what else happens, but we can see the buyers are definitely pushing up right here, trying to do their thing, and the sellers are obviously pushing down. So NVIDIA does not, they already did. Anybody know when NVIDIA's earnings are? NVIDIA's earnings. So I had them on the list. Let's see here. NVIDIA's earnings. 11/26. So NVIDIA has earnings coming up in November. It's the next time they have earnings. So if you're trading NVIDIA, just be aware that right now you're looking at one spreads here, but as it starts getting closer, you will probably start seeing more space in between those spreads. So don't let it throw you off. But for right now, this is what we got. 16, about 16-ish. Between 12 and 16. If somebody wants to do an iron condor and go get on both sides, that would be over $30 on $100 collateral. So that would be something to pay attention to. All right. Ready. Hello, Richard and Nika. Thank you, Nika. Said it was a month ago. Appreciate you. All right. So we did Russell, we did SPX, we did SPY. Let's take a look again at SPX on the 15-minute chart. See what we come up with, how far it has gotten. So here's what I'm seeing. SPX on the 15-minute chart, for those who are doing the breakout, it tried to break out, went up, and earlier I was saying there's certain levels to pay attention to in terms of it deciding to turn around. It actually, I was thinking it would try to get up this high, which it didn't, but it hit another area right here that I would consider to be a strong area as well. So I'm going to change this. That's what it hit, and it came back. So now the question is whether or not this is going to bounce off its former first candle high point and continue up, or see what happens. So, but then of course the high, what is this, 5733, is what I would be looking to see if it pushes past when it tries to push itself back up. So, but we still got down here, we still got that still got this gap has not been filled, and I'm gonna pull this over and make it even. See how much space has been taken up in this situation. And this gap is I put the arrow in the direction that the gap went. So that's why I switched that arrow. So I know that that's a buyer's gap, and it is that this gapped up, and that's why I put that arrow there. So I'll know what direction it was. Right. So in this case, SPX is between two gaps on the 15-minute chart, is what that's saying to me. Right. Let's take a look at RUT. RUT is hiding in between. But also had his rejection at this point that I was describing earlier, that first turning point, that swing point right here. So that's a nice strong rejection right there, man. So that's something to watch if you are doing a breakout. And yeah, so nobody has done any moving in terms of moving outside of their zone with any strength. So that's what we got for right now. All right. We don't see any more tickers. And all right, so we're good. Let's go on over here to get our latest on. So what we have for the Dow Jones is down slightly, 0.09%. S&P 500 is up 0.55%. NASDAQ is up the most, 0.93%. And Russell 2K is up 0.13%. The VIX is down 4.55% to 2159. In terms of tech, the things that caught my attention this week was those robo-taxis are starting to kind of pick up steam in various areas. As some of you might be familiar, the new thing is for the robo-taxis, self-piloting vehicles with Tesla's equipment always causing problems. There can be a iffy prospect of having non-human piloted vehicles on the street. But the thing to keep in mind is Uber is trying to partner up with companies in order to do that piloting. And so, which is smart on their part, so that they can make some of that money too. And so that's one of the companies to be aware of that is trying to at least connect with that space of self-driving cars and things of that nature. We did talk about on a previous stream that Amazon is still working on its Amazon Prime drones to deliver food. Well, I shouldn't just say it's just not just food, but let's just call it, Prime Air delivery, right? So they are definitely in the works as far as that's concerned. So all these are different things that can impact the stocks that we trade. Adobe is another one. Adobe was working on a deal with a company called Figma, Figma. That did not work out. And so I'm not blaming that as the reason for the price drops or anything like that, but I know that it was in the news. It doesn't sound like it was one of those situations where it was a negative, falling apart or anything like that. Some of those situations, it could be any number of reasons why it didn't work out, not necessarily anything negative or bad. So, but I know that it didn't pan out for Adobe, who is definitely trying to make sure that they stay dominant in their space. All right. And so I think that's about it. That's all I got in terms of that. So we are going to switch on over to our E2T daily declaration. By faith, I am a successful trader. I'm a wise and knowledgeable trader. I make smart and lucrative decisions for my portfolios. Money likes me because money is comfortable around me. It is drawn to me. E2T, daily prayer. Lord, give us wisdom and knowledge for our trades today. Help us to make smart and lucrative decisions for our portfolios. All right. Once again, thank you all for joining us this morning and hanging out. If you got something out of today's stream, please click like. Feel free to subscribe as well. Join the membership, E2T membership. All right. Educator 2 Trader, the number 2trader.com. It's a great ecosystem to thrive in. So we would love to have you. Other than that, remember, stay green, get this money. If you're in our Telegram group, we are posting our Mancini numbers right now. All right. Other than that, hasta la vista. You all have a great trading day.